Hey everyone, welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving into an incredibly powerful analysis about a feeling that, let's be honest, way too many of us know all too well. I'm talking about that totally draining 9 to 5 numbness. We're going to break down exactly why so many of us feel completely stuck in this endless loop of just working to pay the bills, and more importantly, we're going to look at the actual proven science of how to break out of it. Okay, let's just get right into it.
So picture this. It's 9 p.m. in an IT office in Gurgaon. You've got 26-year-old Amit, and he's been at work for what, 12 hours now? On his screen is this massive Excel sheet, but he's just staring blankly at a travel vlogger on his phone. Now, from the outside looking in, Amit's life looks pretty much perfect, right? He's pulling in a 12 lakh salary, he's hitting all those classic "I'm thrilled to announce" milestones on LinkedIn, and his parents couldn't be prouder. But inside, honestly, inside he feels totally broken and just empty. It's this really profound numbness. And the crazy thing is, this isn't just Amit's story. This is the reality for literally millions of daily commuters who are trapped in that exact same cycle of traffic, spreadsheets, and weekend escapism.
To really wrap our heads around the emotional stakes here, we should listen to the legendary poet Pash. He once wrote, "The most dangerous thing is to be filled with dead silence. The most dangerous thing is the death of our dreams." You know, this systemic numbness we're talking about, it isn't just some minor modern inconvenience. It's an actively recognized, devastating tragedy of the human spirit. Just waking up, going to work, coming home, and feeling absolutely nothing.
What's truly staggering to me is the sheer scale of this problem. Look at this. According to a massive 2024 Gallup poll spanning over 160 countries, only 23% of people are actually engaged in their work globally. That means the other 77% are actively disengaged or basically doing that whole quiet quitting thing. And if we look at South Asia and India, oh man, it's actually worse. Only 21% are engaged. Think about that for a second. That means 8 out of 10 people fundamentally hate the place where they spend the vast majority of their waking hours.
But here's the thing, it's not just a personal emotional crisis, it is a massive economic one too. Because at 23% who are actually engaged, they aren't just happier people, they're actually 18% more productive, and their companies are 23% more profitable. So, the question really isn't whether following your passion is some kind of luxury. The real question we should be asking is, how much is ignoring our passion actually costing us? How much is it costing our society and our economy?
So, if it's so important, why don't people just follow their passion? Well, according to a major 2018 Stanford University study, which was supported by author Cal Newport's work, most of us are completely trapped in what's called a fixed mindset. Basically, we treat passion like it's this hidden treasure. We think, oh, if I just look deep enough inside myself, I'm going to magically find it. But guys, that is a total myth. Actually, passion is a growth mindset concept. Think of it not as a hidden treasure you discover, but more like a plant that you have to actively water and grow. It develops passively as you build up your skills and gain autonomy.
Let's look at a real-world example of how this growth actually happens. Meet Neha. She's 34, married, has 2 kids, and she's always kind of wanted to be a chef. So one day she bakes this beautiful cake for her son. A neighbor shares a photo of it, and boom, suddenly she has 3 real orders. But here is the part those cheesy motivational videos always leave out. One of those cakes totally failed. The customer complained bitterly, and her husband outright told her she should just quit. Right there, Neha was standing at a major crossroads that 80% of people hit. She had to choose between quitting and retreating back to comfortable slavery or pushing through all that criticism into some seriously uncomfortable freedom.
Well, Neha chose the discomfort. She just kept baking. And eventually she hit what psychologist Mihaly Csikszentmihalyi defined way back in 1990 as the flow state. Now, flow state is this incredible zone of 100% focus where you literally just lose all track of time. Your mind and your body are perfectly aligned on a task that beautifully balances your skill level right up against the challenge. And get this, in this state, people can be up to 500% more productive. No joke. Neha totally harnessed this, and 14 months later, she was running a hugely successful cloud kitchen on Zomato right out of her own home oven. Okay, but what if you're sitting there thinking, I don't even know what I'd want to try? Trust me, you are not alone in that. Author David Epstein dives deep into this in his book Range. Get this, there are over 12,000 recognized careers out there globally, but the average Indian student is exposed to maybe 10 or 15 of them. You know the drill. Engineer, doctor, lawyer, CA. But Epstein's research drops a massive truth bomb. While early specializers might win in the short term, it's actually the late samplers, people who try a whole bunch of different things before they commit, who win in the long run. Even absolute legends like Roger Federer and MS Dhoni, They were samplers. They played other sports like football and basketball way before they specialized.
Let's bring this all back to Amit and see how it catches up with him. Remember we left him feeling completely numb at his desk? Well, that numbness eventually took a massive physical toll. At 3 a.m. on a random Tuesday, after pulling yet another 14-hour workday, Amit woke up gasping for air, literally clutching his chest. He rushed to the hospital terrified he was having a massive heart attack. But the doctor's diagnosis? A severe panic attack brought on by immense crushing stress. Even after that brutal wake-up call, Amit felt completely trapped. He felt like he couldn't just quit. And why is that?
Because he was fully locked inside what I call the EMI cage. It's this vicious cycle that starts super early. First, you've got those crazy expensive coaching fees for engineering exams, which leads straight into massive education loans. Then you finally graduate into what? A 25K a month job, and you spend years doing nothing but paying off that loan. Next up, the bike EMI. Then the societal FOMO kicks in, the fear of missing out. And boom, you sign up for a 20-year home loan. Meanwhile, hustle culture is screaming at you that working 70-hour weeks is some kind of badge of honor. By the time you finally wake up and realize you actually hate your job, half your salary already belongs to the bank. You are literally locked in a golden cage.
But here's where things shifted. After the hospital incident, Amit remembered something he hadn't thought about in 14 years: wood carving with his grandfather. So the very next weekend, he went out, bought some basic tools, and just gave it a try for about 45 minutes. His hands were shaking, and frankly, the result was pretty terrible. But something genuinely incredible happened. For those 45 minutes, he didn't check his phone a single time. He felt this deep, genuine sense of peace. Just the physical, totally disconnected nature of the task started fueling his completely exhausted mind.
So he kept at it. And this leads us to this amazing rule from author Josh Kaufman. The absolute magic number here is 20. Kaufman's research shows that it really only takes about 20 hours of deliberate, focused practice to get reasonably good at literally any new skill. Think about the math on that. If you practice just 45 minutes a day, you are going to hit that 20-hour mark in just one single month. And that is exactly what Amit did with his wood carving.
And by sticking with it, pushing right past that initial frustration, Amit developed what researcher Angela Duckworth calls grit. Honestly, grit is just passion plus perseverance, and her research shows it is a way bigger predictor of success than your IQ or your natural talent. Passion isn't some magic spell. It is built from the ground up through this gritty, deliberate practice. Fast forward 2 years, and Amit's grit led him to set up an Instagram page for his carvings, and he eventually made his very first $47 sale to an NRI.
Okay, so how do you take all this science and actually apply it to your own life? Well, based on all the research we've looked at, we can boil the whole thing down to a really practical roadmap. I call it the 3E formula. Step 1, explore. Step 2, engage. And step 3, excel. Let's break down exactly how you can start executing each of these steps, like starting today. All right, step 1 is explore. Remember earlier when we said we're abandoning that whole idea of looking inside yourself? Exactly. You need to look outside to expand your horizons. Your goal here is super simple. For 30 days, dedicate just 30 minutes a day to researching new careers. Look up a list of 100 obscure, interesting jobs. We're talking anything from a marine biologist to a professional Lego builder to a cloud kitchen owner. Then, just narrow that list down to 30 things that spark even a tiny bit of interest. Just read about them. No pressure to commit, absolutely no judgment. Now, once you've got a short list of maybe 5 to 7 things that genuinely seem exciting, you move right into step 2, which is engage. This is the fun part. This is where you get your hands dirty with that 20-hour real-world project we talked about. If you think you might be into photography, go offer to shoot a friend's wedding for free. If you like writing, sit down and publish 10 blog posts. Always wanted to try shoe painting? Buy some acrylics and just paint shoes for 20 hours. You're basically test driving these activities to see which one naturally triggers that awesome flow state. Okay, now, here comes the hard part. Step 3 is excel. Because after that initial excitement fades, you are going to hit the grind. This is a super crucial 6-month period where you absolutely must build your grit. I'm not going to lie, it will get boring. You will definitely face some failures. But if you can push through this phase and genuinely excel at your chosen skill, that's when you start monetizing. Notice I said monetizing, not quitting. The goal here isn't to dramatically quit your day job tomorrow. The goal is to build a really safe, calculated exit strategy. We're talking a side income that replaces 30 to 50% of your salary, serving as your bridge straight out of that toxic EMI cage. Ultimately, what we are trying to build with all this is the incredible Japanese concept of ikigai. It roughly translates to your reason for waking up in the morning.
It's the perfect intersection of four vital elements: what you love, what you are good at, what the world needs, and what you can actually be paid for. But please, if you take nothing else away, hear this clearly. Ikigai is not something you just discover overnight by staring at a diagram on Pinterest. It is something you painstakingly build over years by exploring, engaging, and excelling.
Now, I know exactly what some of you are thinking right now. You're saying, well, it's too late for me. I'm too old to start over. If that's you, I want you to take a lot of comfort in this number right here. 39. That is the global average age for a career change. Neha didn't start until she was 34. Amit found his escape route in his late 20s. The research absolutely, definitively proves that whenever you finally decide to pivot towards your passion, your overall life satisfaction just dramatically shoots up. So honestly, age is genuinely just an excuse here.
And what about the whole time excuse? The old, I'm just way too tired after my 9 to 5. Well, there's this totally fascinating study from San Francisco University that completely destroys that excuse. They actually found that having a side passion project actively improves your performance at your primary job. Crazy, right? It boosts your creativity, it enhances your problem-solving skills, and it drastically reduces your overall burnout. You really don't have to choose between your job and your passion. Pursuing your passion actually makes you better at your 9 to 5 while you plot your grand transition. So, that brings us to the ultimate question. We live in this world where 85% of people suppress their inner voice and just surrender to the numbness. But now you know the science. You know the exact formula to get out. So are you going to keep ignoring that voice inside you, or are you going to start your 20 hours tomorrow? Because by pursuing what genuinely engages you, you aren't just saving yourself from the middle-class trap. You're actually bringing your own unique innovations to a world that honestly desperately needs them. Thank you so much for joining me on The Explainer today. Get out there, start exploring, and I'll catch you next time.